Welcome to Illuminati Silver. We tell the truth about silver. Today is Thursday the 14th of October 2021 and we're producing our Thursday morning gold and silver price update, forecast and daily news. The last 24 hours have seen gold and prices rocket, or at least mini rocket, to highs above resistance levels. Unlike William Shatner, formerly Captain Kirk, who actually did rocket completely into space, or at least on the border. So let's see what's going on. And before we do, a quick shout out to the two videos we produced yesterday. Our Wednesday morning gold and silver update, but also a video commenting on Adrian Nash's comments, gold and silver bar trading, and what is currently influencing their price. And we've placed links to both of these below. Now, before we have a look at today's news, an apology in advance. We've discovered it happened twice, and quite frankly, we're not able to do it a third time simply because of time restraints. We noticed that during the actual processing of this video, the microphone reverted to the computer mic rather than to the mic that's plugged in. So the sound quality today will be much poorer than normal. So we apologize in advance for that and ask you to bear with us because the information contained, nevertheless, is still important. So let's have a look. To Illuminati Silver. It's Thursday, 14th of October 2021 at 10:52. Today, energetically glorious. Yes, the sun is out, beating down upon us already. Hardly a cloud in the sky. And there's energy in the firmament. Unfortunately, there's no energy here on Earth, according to the news headlines. Global gas crisis spilling over into oil markets, IEA says. UK energy crisis ramps up as two more suppliers collapse. UK gas shippers stop supplies in another blow to power firms, and the EU proposals to tackle energy prices fall short, Spain says. We can see what the headlines are about today, can we not? Looking quickly, global gas crisis spilling over into oil markets. Shortages of natural gas in Europe and Asia are boosting demand for oil, deepening what was already a sizable supply deficit in crude markets, the International Energy Agency said. Crude has surged above $80 a barrel, the highest in 3 years, as traders anticipated that record gas prices would stimulate consumption of other fuels, particularly for power generation. Already happening and could add about 500,000 barrels a day to oil use on average over the coming 6 months. UK energy crisis ramps up as two more suppliers collapse. Two energy suppliers with about 250,000 customers have collapsed in the latest escalation in the UK's energy crisis. Not good news. EU proposals to tackle energy prices fall short, according to Spain. They claim that the proposals presented are incongruous and fall short of what's needed. While the Commission is aware of the impact of the high level of natural gas prices, its proposals do not address the exceptional nature of the situation we're in, with exceptional measures to meet the challenge we have ahead, according to the Ecological Transition Minister Teresa Ribera on Wednesday in an emailed statement. Even Reuters, energy crisis could threaten the global economic recovery. A global energy crunch is expected to boost oil demand by 500,000 barrels a day and could stoke inflation and slow the world's recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic, the IEA said on Thursday. Oil and natural gas prices have soared to multi-year highs recently, sending power prices surging to record levels as widespread energy shortages engulf Asia and Europe. And this is the key bit. Record coal and gas prices, as well as rolling blackouts, are prompting the power sector and energy-intensive industries to turn to oil to keep the lights on and operations humming. Higher energy prices are also adding to inflationary pressures that, along with power outages, could lead to lower industrial activity and a slowdown in the economic recovery. Now, ironically, this threat may put off tapering of the bond buying program if this comes about, or at least may delay any interest rate rises that are anticipated, which will act as tailwinds for gold and silver. And we shall see in a moment that we've had such tailwinds also because of CPI. But it's a glorious day because we've seen gold and silver prices rise quite significantly for the first time in quite a while. But before we look at that, also what's looking good, cryptocurrencies. Vladimir Putin says he accepts crypto as a legitimate currency. I'm not going to focus on this. This channel's not dedicated to crypto, but Russian President Vladimir Putin signaled tolerance of cryptocurrencies, which are drawing increasing scrutiny from regulators around the world amid fears they can be used for money laundering and criminal activity. We've said many times, you're more likely to have money laundering and criminal activity based on the US dollar and existing fiat currencies than cryptocurrencies because they appear on a blockchain for everyone to see. You may not be able to identify the person, but you can identify the transaction, and then law enforcement can ultimately find the person. Cryptocurrency has the right to exist and can be used as a means of payment, Putin said in an interview with CNBC that was posted on the Kremlin's website on Thursday. Still, he cautioned it was too soon to talk about using digital currencies for trading oil and other commodities that form the bulk of Russia's exports. BBC News, just very quickly. Our Chancellor, we're going to do all we can to fix shop supplies because we're expecting shortages. Price of chicken set to rise, UK supplier warns. Domino Pizzas seek 8,000 drivers before the Christmas rush. Harry Potter stock is going to be delayed because of port delays, and unions call for COVID vaccine patents to be waived. In the United States, US to reopen land borders for vaccinated travelers. Yep, another bash on Trump. Is Trump's power over Republicans starting to slip? No, we don't think so, but there we go. And best-selling biscuit binned in banned sprinkles row. I do wonder how, with all this going on in the world, these are the major headlines. But a bit of good news, Star Trek Shatner blasts into space. Yes, William Shatner, Captain Kirk as we all know him, has become the oldest person to go to space as he blasted off aboard the Blue Origin suborbital capsule. Tremendous, tremendous. What's not tremendous? Dollar. It's falling. 93.8, fallen below that key 94 level. That hit has energized gold and silver. Energy prices, though, up approximately $1, with WTI crude at 81 and Brent crude at 84. Stock markets, broadly, United States positive, between 0.3 and 0.7%. Asia Pacific, apart from the Hang Seng, up between 0.6 and 1.46. And currently, UK and European markets are up close to 1%. Quite positive. Now, economic data yesterday. Interesting, because the consumer price index was up, higher than expectations at 0.4% for September. But the core CPI was actually lower. But the main headline is inflation rises at 5.4% yearly pace in September. CPI shows and stays at 30-year high. Yet another increase in the cost of living in September kept the rate of US inflation at a 30-year peak, adding to mounting evidence that prices are likely to remain high well into next year. The CPI index climbed 0.4% last month. Higher prices for food, gasoline and rent drove most of the advance. Obviously, if gasoline prices came down, that would have a knock-on effect for both food, perhaps not necessarily for rent. The pace of inflation over the past year, meanwhile, edged up 5.4% in September for 5.3% in the prior month. That's more than double the Federal Reserve's 2% target. And then we see the various risk indicators here. The surge in inflation this year is likely to last well into 2022, an outcome the Federal Reserve has only recently acknowledged. Broad shortages of labour and supplies are raising costs for companies, and they're charging customers higher prices to maintain their profits. So as we have said, and we produced a video on this last week, inflation is not transitory, and will be with us for a while yet. Now, in spite of that, going back to the data, the core CPI was lower than market expectations. And this seemed to have had an impact on the dollar index, together with the other issues we've already briefly covered. And so, as a result, we've seen gold and silver rise. Will they maintain that rise remains to be seen. But let's listen to what we said yesterday, in yesterday's video, highlighting the fact this rise was quite possible.
Gold prices, meanwhile, over the last 24 hours are up. So we're up $8 at 1,768, now quite well above that 1,750 support level. If we can get a bit of a tailwind behind these figures today, we may very well see that rise to 1,780 today. And then, of course, 1,800 will be in the sights, though we're not really expecting huge moves until the 3rd of November. Either way. Silver, also up 17 cents at 22.80, now well above 22.50, and once again, targeting $23. That's a possibility this week.
Are we? Gold, $1,797, up $25 or 1.4%. Silver, up 46 cents, nearly 2%, at $23.29. And you can see the rise. Before the data was announced yesterday, you could see that huge rise, mainly because of the drop of the dollar, and also because, let's be quite frank, gold and silver have been languishing in recent weeks. Cryptocurrencies, bit of a tear, up 4.7%, market cap 2.38 trillion, and we can expect that to rise, in our view, to 2.5 by the end of the month. We produce two videos, our morning update, which you've just heard a sort of segment from, and also gold and silver bar price influences, where Bullion Vault Adrian Nash's director of research talked about what's impacting the price of gold and silver. Quite timely, really, in view of the fact it came out before the major price rises. Where do we see gold and silver trading later? Well, quite frankly, it's back to the economic data due out today, initial jobless claims and the producer price index. They will either act as a tailwind or a headwind for our prices. And until we know those figures, we're not really going to know. We would suspect that the economy is going to marginally improve in terms of the jobless claims, but the producer price index could potentially be higher than market expectations, reinforcing the CPI figures. But it's tomorrow that will be the deciding factor for our direction up until the 3rd of November, when Jerome Powell, the head of the Federal Reserve, makes the FOMC announcement on rates and tapering. That's it for now. Please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, press the bell sign. Have a great day on this energetically glorious firmament.
Illuminati silver owners come from a background of banking, international wealth management and economics. Having now retired from these worlds, we are not qualified to give investment advice. Therefore, this and other productions must not be deemed to be giving such advice and merely represent the personal views of its owners.